Welcome, everybody. I'm very happy to now talk about Guerra e Pace, that I hope I don't pronounce too badly. We're going to discuss more deeper into one project to see how co-production works or not, what are maybe the obstacles or the difficulties. And to start, I would like to show a trailer of the film, and then Martina, maybe you will be the first one to talk. So if we can see the trailer, perfect.
Nessun ferito, ok? Stanno tutti bene.
Caserma.
Un casermone mi ha detto, sta chiuso in un casermone non si può muovere.
Dobbiamo parlare con la persona.
E non può parlare?
Perché non può parlare?
Perché non può oggi, soltanto tramite WhatsApp mi ha detto. Comunica solo tramite WhatsApp.
No, gli mandiamo un WhatsApp dicendo abbiamo bisogno di parlare con lei, dobbiamo sapere, una persona che chiede aiuto dobbiamo sapere dove sta.
Bombardamenti qua. Ok. Qua. Qua.
C'est la guerre. Ah non, c'est pas la guerre. Si, c'est la guerre. Comment le peintre a représenté la guerre sans mettre la guerre?
Beautiful extract, congratulations. I think the film premiered in Venice, so it had a beautiful career, and now it's presented here in Visions du Réel. So Martina, maybe what do you want to tell us about this journey?
So first of all, thank you for inviting us, for being the case study of the debate. And the Guerra e Pace, War and Peace, well, the very first beginning was, I think, in 2017, the first idea, and develop and produce the film was long, was about 4 years. But as the production company, well, we never work alone, because from the very beginning we decide we have the chance to co-produce the film with Lomotion and David Fonjallaz. Physically, unlucky him, he's with you. And the collaboration between our Montmorency Film, our little company, and Lomotion was not the first time that we co-produced a film together, because the first time was for our previous film titled Spira Mirabilis, that you show 2 years ago in Lyon. So we met through Frédéric Mer. Frédéric Mer, for a certain point of view, is our guardian angel. We can say this. And this was very important because he knows us and he knows Lomotion. So when we understood that we need a co-producer for Spira Mirabilis. We asked him, and he suggested us Lomotion. And I think that was really important because the role, the mediation role was fundamental because when you start, when we decide to co-produce, we need somebody, yes, that share the journey with us, but also not only from a point of view of money and how can I say, street production question, but also we share a vision of the cinema, vision of the film. So the first time we met with David was in November 2013. So it was a long time ago.
He was a baby.
And for us was really fundamental the fact that we are really autarkic. We are, me and Massimo, first of all, I have to say hello from Massimo. He can't be here, but he's with us with, this is the art. And we founded our production company to produce our own film. We are not able, we can't produce film because we are not really producers, we are filmmakers. And so it's not really easy for us to produce and co-produce. And we are really autarkic. We work alone, we film alone, we edit alone. So before meeting David and Louis from Lomotion, I have to be sincere, we tried to have other co-producers, but all the time the production questions for the co-producer were more important than our way of working. So when David and Louis said, when we met and they say, okay, we will try to, how can I say, to adapt the production question on your way of working, that for us was really fundamental because we understood that we can work together. We don't have to add, I don't know, people,
yeah.
But we can keep on with our way of doing, but we can share something with. Yes, we can be a partner in the good sense of the word. So that's how we start together for Spira, and that experience, I could say, was really good.
Obviously.
So when we when we decide to make a new film to make War and Peace, was very natural to ask them, to ask Lomotion if they want to collaborate together, and that's how we. It's simple. That's how we start for this project.
No, but what you say is fundamental. It's true. I mean, a good co-production is also about trust and having the same vision of the film, and that's how you can really work together and not fall into the co-production that will go against the artistical choices, because that is sometimes the case, especially when you have too many countries. Then you start making decisions not for the film and the artistical, but for the co-production.
Yes.
So, I don't know who wants to, because now we're going to go more onto, the ground of technical production and how it works, who went on board and all this. I don't know if it's you, David, or Francesca that wants to start talking about the production.
Well, Francesca will talk about the Italian part of the production issues, and I will obviously talk about the Swiss part. I just wanted to add to what Martina said. I think it was actually an advantage that it was the first co-production for us as well as for Montmorency. So in a way, we didn't have this fixed idea that's how a co-production works. So we developed it together, and that was a strength. It was also quite easy because with Spira Mirabilis there was a real clear link to our region, because one part of the film was shot in Bern, and the success of Spira Mirabilis that was in international competition in Venice was of course helped a lot to then finance Guerra e Pace, to come to that. And maybe also because we're in Lyon, it's important to stress the fact that the first time we actually worked together was in 2014, when we were here at the Pitching du Réel presenting Spira Mirabilis. And I remember that, one thing is to talk about our visions and stuff like that, and that's important, but then you have to find out how can you actually work together and can you complement each other. And I think the Pitching du Réel in Lyon was a very important moment for us to get the proof of concept that we're a good team.
Yeah, so it's also a long love story with Visions du Réel. So maybe
for us, it's 10 years old story.
So because the financing, I guess, started in Italy, maybe Francesca, you can explain to us how it worked out.
Hi, good morning to everyone. My name is Francesca Zanza. I'm an Italian producer based in Rome, and now I have my own production company. But when I met Martina and Massimo for the first time some years ago, I used to work as an executive producer and producer for several companies in Italy. And just a quick note about our meeting. At the time, I was working on a project. It was a co-production, a multilateral co-production with 4 countries. And the movie, we were supposed to shoot the movie in a US reserve in Pine Ridge, a quite well-known reserve. And Massimo and Martina at the time sent me an email because one of the episodes of Spira Mirabilis was supposed to be set in a US reserve. So they sent me an email to ask if we can collaborate. At the end, I shot that movie in Mexico, so we didn't have the chance to work together. But
we went to Pine Ridge.
But it was in any case, it was a very lucky circumstance, because I already knew everything about Massimo and Martina as filmmakers. I'm fond of their work. I love their work so much. So it was the first occasion to meet them, and then we started working together. And as Martina said, they have their own production company, and as a delegate executive producer, I help them. Yes, I help them. And so just to give a quick frame. And yes, we started it. I have to say that I started working on co-production 20 years ago. And as you already said, it's not always so easy, because sometimes there are too many countries, there are too many needs from, yes, as in terms of balance, in terms of split of the activities, in terms of, and blah, blah, blah. I have to say that this co-production, the work with David and Lomotion on War and Peace, was very, 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 very easy and pleasant, and really one of my yes, and so everything ran quite smoothly from every point of view, and so a very good experience. And yes, it's not a difficult co-production. It's a normal bilateral co-production between Italy and Switzerland, and so not so difficult. And then and it works so well also because, as David and Martina already said, they managed to find a way to work together without damaging, I don't know how to say, without the production needs weren't more important than the artistic needs. So we managed to find a way to work well, starting from Martina and Massimo's needs. And it's the key of the success of this co-production. Very easily, Massimo and Martina were already in touch with Rai Cinema, and I don't know if Laura wants to add anything, but I think yes.
Yes, of course.
Ciao, Laura. Maybe, I'm sorry, Laura, I will give you la parole in 2 minutes. Francesca, can you just tell us the different steps in Italy? Where did you start? Is it first me-backed?
We started with an agreement for the development with Rai Cinema that gave us the chance to start with the development, even because the project, just to say 2 words about the project, it's a very particular project because Massimo and Martina needed a lot of time to choose the archives, and the archives are not Italian archives. The archives come from France, Switzerland, Italy, and other countries. So it's a very international project. A very international project from the beginning, from the idea, from the concept. And then at the very beginning, they wanted to shoot also in countries like Libya, so at the end it was impossible to go there to shoot. But at the beginning, the project there was also this element. So it was necessary to have a strong support for the development, and Rai Cinema accepted to help us from the very beginning. So with the help of Rai Cinema, Montmorency, they managed to develop quite well the movie. Then I don't know if I remember, but I think in November 2017, with the co-production agreement already signed with David, we sent our application for our national public fund, the production grant. So, and it was the first time Massimo and Martina applied for one of their projects. It was, yes. But it was a very good project, well developed, with Rai Cinema, with a good co-production. So at the end, we got the fund, and then on the other side, as for what concerns the Italian part of the financing plan, we, as you probably know, we have also a very good tax credit here in Italy. So we apply also for the tax credit, we got it, and so Rai Cinema confirmed its involvement also for the production, and more or less for the Italian part was done. To be honest, we tried also, we applied also for Eurimage. We obtained a very, very, very good score. But at the end, the management, the board decided not to support the project. But I mean, it's
competitive, yeah.
Very yes. And more or less for Italy, that's all.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, so it's interesting. Rai Cinema was really there at the beginning of the project. So Laura,
yes.
Do you want to tell us more about your collaboration?
Yes, hi. I'm Laura Nicotra. I work in Rai Cinema, and the department is Cinema del Reale Documentari. So the collaboration with Massimo and Martina begins in 2008 with Grandi Speranze. And after that, we have continued to follow their path as authors, filmmakers, and also producers. Their projects in these years have obtained important selections and awards at national and international festivals. And their work focuses on constant filmmaking research and its constantly evolving form, often also through a dialectic between present and past, that obviously includes the enhancement of archives and their historical and cultural value. Now, said that, Guerra e Pace represents a perfect synthesis of the authorial path of Martina and Massimo, reflecting on topical issues through the cinema point of view. It was an ambitious project that has confirmed and expanded the initial promises. The vision and its historical and political value are so strong to represent the meaning of the contemporary filmmaking.
Thank you, Laura. So it's interesting because in Switzerland, the TVs, they don't help for development on documentaries. It doesn't exist, which is, yeah, I think, it's too bad. And the previous films from Martina and, Massimo, what was the audience? Do you say, what was the results, you know, when you screened them on TV? What were the rates? Comment pas dire les rates?
The audience,
yeah,
the share, and so on. I didn't remember, but I can check if you want to know.
Just to know. Okay,
I don't remember, I'm sorry.
It doesn't matter, it was just a question. Thank you, Laura. So now I'm turning towards David Fonjallaz, that started production when he was 13 years old. So can you tell us more about the Swiss part of this project?
Yeah, sure. Well, I think the financing of Guerra e Pace started actually with us winning the main prize of our regional film fund for Spira Mirabilis. And so what we first did is to reinvest half of this prize money, that was around 9,000 euros, 10,000 Swiss francs, into Guerra e Pace. And I think that was, for our institutions, obviously it was an important sign to show, okay, they really want to continue this collaboration. And so it helped to already place the project. And then we actually first looked at the possibilities to make Guerra e Pace as majority producers from Switzerland, but we soon realized that it would be very difficult for a Swiss production company to be majority producers with foreign directors not living in Switzerland. Yeah. So the thing is not about the nationality, but it's about where they pay their taxes.
Exactly.
So after we tried to apply for development and didn't really work out, we went back to the old structure. And there a very important door opener was again Cinémathèque Suisse, who we approached because we knew we would use a lot of archive materials. So we asked for a partnership with them, and they entered the project also with a certain amount of participation in form of services. So it was not real cash, but it was still I think 30,000 Swiss francs, access to archives, shooting permissions, things like that. So when we entered the real funding application process, we already had this Bernese Film Prize money, this Cinémathèque contribution as a start. One important thing is maybe for the application in Switzerland, I had to do some, I call it a translation work in a sense that not just from one language into the other, but the texts of Massimo and Martina are highly philosophical and And so for me as a minority co-producer, the first thing was kind of to adapt the text for our experts.
The non-philosophical Swiss experts.
Yeah, exactly, to make it a little bit more concrete about what are we actually going to shoot and stuff like that. And I remember pitching her own project to Martina on the phone, like asking, you know, so is it a film about how difficult is it to film war? And she was like, no. And I was like, okay, so is it a film about how the images of war change our perception of what war is? Yes, exactly. So I was trying to find out basically what the film would be about in order to present it to our funding institutions.
And you also translated it in French or in German?
In German.
Okay.
In German, yeah. Yeah, and I mean that. Again, it really helped that we already worked together, so we had a certain confidence in the process. We had a common vocabulary also to talk about the project, and that really helped. I don't know if you want to say something about that, Martina?
No, it's not easy to apply for documentary, because documentary change from the first idea until not until the end, but until you can film, you can shoot, because our documentary, so there's not a screenplay that is written and fixed, and if you work with somebody that is, for us, like Rai Cinema, and they are a publisher, they're not just financer, no? So, and they understand that from the first idea till the end, the project can change for many reasons, because you want to change, you understand that something doesn't work, so you have to change, or because the reality changed, so you have to adapt. And it's true, at the very first at the beginning, we want to go an embassy in Libya, but that was impossible, because was possible in 2017 because Libya was in peace, but then happened what happened. So so it's important to work knowing that the project can change. And we knew from Spira, we knew that all the we have every time to adapt.
No, there it's really helpful that Massimo and Martina do this really in-depth research on the subject, on the subject they want to deal with in the film, and I think that helps also then to find solutions in reality so because you know so exactly what the subjects are you want to talk, you find them somewhere in reality. Okay, to come back to financing, our first step was our regional film fund, so we're based in the German-speaking part of Switzerland, in Bern, and they saw the benefit of another collaboration at once, because again, with Spira, for us it was really a door opener into also into a more international context as a production company. So, and I think that's also the advantage in Switzerland, that we are really close with our regional funds, so we can talk with them, and they know us, so they knew that this is important. I guess it was a little bit the same story with Swiss television. The success of Spira helped them it was easier to convince them to be part of it again.
So you went to the Germans?
Yes, and that's the thing. So as we were talking about before, there are 3 units, and in the end, it's a national decision, but you need an entry point via one of the units, and for us, the most natural one is obviously SRF, the German-speaking. Although in the film, in Guerra, they speak French and Italian and no word of German. But so that was possible. And then we went to the National Film Fund. And we were then still in the old system.
Okay, but you went after TV. That's interesting. You had SRF on board before you went to back.
No, probably not. No, you're right.
First or
Probably
after?
not. Or it was in parallel. That must. I'm not sure. And well, Laurent talked about it. The system changed. We were in the last application deadline with the old system because we knew that it would be super difficult for us to get the money with the new system, since the artistic impact is more, well, as Martina was saying, they were quite autarkic. It's a very small crew, so it's kind of difficult sometimes with the new system. I actually checked, I did a test, and we would have had 76 points with the new system, which has never in none of the sessions whatsoever has been enough to get the money. But we'll find a solution for the next one.
For next one.
And yeah, well, it was still, of course, important to have a certain artistic impact in the project, and we managed to have that through the inclusion of the musicians Sabina Scherer and Felix Rohner, who were actually protagonists of Spira Mirabilis as musicians, and we could yeah, well, they were part. They contributed to the composition together with the longtime partner of Massimo and Martina, Massimo Mariani, who is their sound designer and music composer. And that's how we did it. And maybe it's the moment to show actually the financing plan. I prepared a rough overview. We have the slide.
Pleasure, yeah, because it seems you could have been like almost 40, 60 or something like this. I know it
no,
was 70.
as you can see, not at all.
Yeah, not at all, indeed.
We had actually a higher share in Spira, if I remember correctly. But
it's mainly Rai, yeah, wow, that's very interesting.
Yeah,
and,
Rai is important, the tax credit.
And that your regional fund gave more than the national film fund, that's interesting too. Cinémathèque Suisse, producers on investment. Yeah. And did it went smoothly, or did you have to apply several times?
No, it went smoothly. I think the National Film Fund was the only one we had to apply twice. Yeah, because it was also still a work in progress, trying to. Yeah, so my translation work for the first time was not that as good as for the second application.
But did you change a lot? I mean, the way of, not the content of the film, obviously, but the way to present it?
No, honestly, I mostly argued about the fact that we do not have a lot of impact on the artistic decisions, but looking at the career of Massimo and Martina's previous films, it's kind of obvious that it will have a high artistic value. And yeah, well, that's something that that's actually a good idea behind the change of the system to say, okay, as minority co-producers, you have little impact on the artistic thing, so it doesn't really make sense to say no to a project because of artistic questions, because we just have no way to react to the feedback we get. So, but no, it went smooth. Yeah, it went. Smooth.
But I think in Switzerland, and you said that, but it was important, the career of the directors before. Most of the film that was supported were by confirmed directors. It was very difficult to find money for first films.
Right.
And now it's changed, but we are not going to go more into that. But I think, for example, this film, would have you couldn't get any money from back with the new system. We'll see.
We'll see. No, and a good thing about the film of Massimo and Martina is for sure that they always deal with really universal topics. So the link to Switzerland is you have to find ways to argue, but
and also
you can
the
make
archives with the Cinémathèque. I mean, that was also, it makes sense.
Obviously, we shot at Cinémathèque, and maybe that's exactly the transition to the shooting and post-production, the subject of how we shot. I don't know, Martina, do you want to start talking about the the actual production?
The new one?
No, the production of the... Bah non, bah commence-toi.
Well, or maybe there's one more thing to add for the financing process. We went to Venice Gap Financing Market together in 2019, which was also, well, a nice first window to present the project. And if I remember correctly, again, there's a link with Neon, because the guy, the selection representative from Gap Financing Market, we first met at the Magic Hour here in Neon in 2019. I remember we called him the man with the hut.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was here. But so anyway, so for the shooting, maybe our contribution came quite late on the process, because as often with minority co-production, we did image post-production in Switzerland. That was our main, and the music composition was also towards the end, obviously. And concerning the part that was shot in Switzerland, it's actually funny. we discovered that yesterday, that actually the first day of shooting of Guerra e Pace was in Switzerland, and the last day of shooting was also in Switzerland.
Oh, well.
Because Massimo and Martina started at the Cinémathèque, yeah, so with the first images that weren't used in the film, if I'm correct, and then really the last segment of the film was shot in June. Yeah, last June.
19.
So,
No, 19? No, 20.
20? No, just before we started image post-production. Because Massimo and Martina are editing their films by themselves, so they already edited the rest of the film. It was only this last part due to the pandemic. We were kind of postponing it, and then we find, well, then it was just like the last moment. So they edited it almost in Switzerland, or well, just almost really in parallel to the color correction work we did here. But during the whole shooting process, we were in regular contact, well, with Massimo Martina, talking a lot about artistic decisions changed in the shooting process, and with Francesca, I was also, well, numbers and budgets, of course, reallocating certain expenses. We haven't mentioned that we first thought of having a third co-producer from France, because it was clear from the beginning that we would be shooting in France as well, and that didn't work out. So that's a classic example of certain expenses that were supposed to be on the French side, we had to reallocate. So we paid for accommodation in France and some archive material, that right clearing stuff, and so.
Because for Arribage, you needed to be 3 countries also, no?
Yeah,
Yes,
Francesca?
sorry, I forgot to mention, yes, we tried to involve also a third co-producer, a French one, even because a lot of sequences of the movie were shot in France at the École Militaire. And at the end, it didn't work, because perhaps we involved the French co-producer too late. So, and as we know, for co-production, time is a key element, and yes, at the end it didn't work. But this French company, Bocalupo Films, help us during the shooting in France, and yes.
Can I ask what was the budget, the global budget amount? How much did the film cost?
If I remember correctly, around 650,000 euros.
Yeah, which is. And so the film hasn't been screened yet on any TVs, because it wasn't in theaters yet.
Exactly. Yeah. So we premiered in Venice. Then we were in international competition at ITFA. Then in Cairo, Thessaloniki, I don't know. It's still traveling a lot. We're planning for a theatrical release in fall in Switzerland. But again, due to the pandemic, as we all know, they have kind of enough films right now. And Guerra is a beautiful film, but maybe also not like the blockbuster they are all waiting for.
So the problem Marco was telling about before, you know, who's going to screen first, which TV, is not a problem for you. It was solved. It's first the Italian TV and then I guess Swiss TV.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, that's, well, since we're really more or less, in Switzerland we have the same partners as with Spira Mirabilis, and that was no problem at all. This was exactly as you say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now, Martina, you have a new project, and it will be a Swiss-Italian co-production?
We hope so, yes. We will find a way with the new law, with the new Swiss law.
Well, you're in perfect hands, so I wish you luck, and I'm sure you'll find a way. Are there any questions from anybody? No? Do you want to add something, Laura? It's beautiful to have 3 women in front of me, you know, it's not so common, so I want to say it. Wonderful woman.
For this white,
yeah.
maybe.
No, and I'm looking forward to watch the film because I haven't seen it, so now you teased me. Do you want to add something, David?
Well, no, we were asked to prepare do's and don'ts, and maybe the most important do's that we learned through these 2 films is to really have a clear repetition of work. So with Guerra, we really did the entire image post-production in Switzerland, including color correction, and the entire sound post-production in Italy, whereas with Spira, it was kind of a mix, and they already graded in Italy, but we still had to do some corrections in Switzerland, and Massimo Mariani, who was mixing in Switzerland, so he brought his whole gear to Switzerland. So it didn't really make sense. So I think that's an important thing.
You're gaining experience, you know, with time.
Exactly. And the most important thing is, of course, work with people that you also like spending time with. And I think that's really, for me, one of the most beautiful encounters that I had in my life as a producer is with Massimo and Martina. And maybe just to come back a little bit on the post-production, I mean, they came last summer, they came to Bern. We found an apartment for them to stay for 2.5 weeks, something like that, where we could really work during the day on the image post-production, on the trailer, on the graphic, and in the evening we were eating together and spending some quality time together. And I mean,
yeah, in
the end, it's also about that. Making films together is also about sharing life experience together. And
no, totally, and we can feel that, so it's very agreeable. But it's true, you have to find your family, especially in co-productions, because when they don't go well, it will be another subject for the next maybe round table. But it's better to talk about projects that, you know, went well. So good luck to you.
This kind of film for documentaries that don't really have a market, we don't really earn a lot. How can I say? The key is to find people, special people to work with, and that's is yes, is the key.
I couldn't agree more. So that will be the end word, I think. Thank you again very much, and hopefully I will meet you one day somewhere. Thank you, David.
Thank you, Joanne.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.